References for criteria and credits related to fire prevention code adoption and enforcement are shown here. Before going any further, I need to inform you that credits available in sections 1020 through 1025 of the Fire Suppression Rating Schedule may only be earned by those jurisdictions that have fire prevention bureaus that are formally recognized by Louisiana's Office of the State Fire Marshal. The criteria for becoming recognized may be found on their website. The credits for fire prevention are divided into 4 areas: code regulations, staffing, certification and training, and fire prevention programs. Let's look first at fire prevention code regulations. Credit for fire prevention code regulations is based strictly on the dates of those codes and regulations adopted by the local jurisdiction, with the most credit awarded when the dates of the adopted codes and regulations are within 5 years of the date of the grading, and the least credit awarded when they are more than 10 years old. The next area we will look at is fire prevention staffing. The Fire Suppression Rating Schedule says that to receive full credit for fire prevention staffing, there must be enough fire prevention inspectors to visit each non-residential structure in the graded area at least once a year. In Louisiana, only certified fire prevention inspectors may perform creditable fire prevention inspections. Notice that there are 2 almost identical formulas on this slide. The top formula is the one found in the Fire Suppression Rating Schedule, and the bottom formula is the one used by PIAL. We use a different formula because ISO's credit is based on the number of properties inspected annually compared to the number of properties in the entire graded area, and then that percentage is multiplied by 8. There is no way that PIAL could possibly review fire prevention files for all commercial properties to arrive at this credit, so we will randomly select at least 10 buildings and review their inspection files. Credit will be based on the percentage of these buildings that have been inspected annually. In larger communities, more buildings will be selected. Finally, there is no credit for buildings that are not inspected annually. Okay, we've looked at fire prevention code regulations and staffing. Let's take a look now at credits for fire prevention certification and training. Fire prevention inspectors must be certified as meeting knowledge, skills, and abilities found in NFPA 1031. Evidence of this certification may be IFSAC or Pro Board certificates, or a card issued by the Louisiana Office of the State Fire Marshal that identifies the holder as a certified fire prevention inspector. The credit is derived by dividing the number of certified inspectors by the number of inspectors and multiplying that value by 3. Each fire inspector should receive a minimum of 24 hours of continuation training per year. PIAL will review training done during the 3 years prior to the grading and will award credit for the average number of hours completed each year. The formula shown at the bottom of this slide would result in the credit earned by a single inspector. When there are multiple inspectors, PIAL will total the number of hours and divide that figure by 24 times the number of inspectors. That value is then multiplied by 3 to obtain the final credit earned for continuing education. The final area we need to look at is how credits for fire prevention programs are broken down. Credits for fire prevention programs are divided into 7 areas: plan review, certificates of occupancy inspections, quality assurance program for enforcement and inspection programs, code compliance follow-up, inspection of private fire protection equipment, fire prevention ordinances, and coordination of fire department training and pre-incident planning. Let's take a quick look at each of these areas one at a time. All plans for new non-residential construction, addition, and remodeling must be reviewed for compliance with adopted fire prevention codes. In Louisiana, the Office of the State Fire Marshal does these reviews, and local use of any other agency, such as a building official, in lieu of the State Fire Marshal is not creditable. Such an agency may be used in addition to the Louisiana State Fire Marshal. The first thing I usually hear when I ask for documentation of fire prevention inspections performed prior to issuance of certificates of occupancy for commercial and residential properties is that the fire department doesn't get involved with residential properties. Keep in mind that this is a community effort, and the community's permits office may receive credit for the inspections if they are done. Don't overlook this credit. Fire prevention inspections should look for contractor compliance with state laws regarding the applicable contractor's use of state-mandated equipment condition tagging systems. The ordinance considered under fire prevention ordinances are in addition to those used to establish the Fire Prevention Bureau. To earn this credit, a copy of the ordinance governing fire lanes, fireworks, hazardous material routes, barbecue grills, and the wildland-urban interface, or weeds and brush, must be submitted to PIAL. The final fire prevention program we will address provides information sharing between fire prevention inspectors and the department's training and pre-planning functions. It's essential for firefighters responding to an emergency to have the most up-to-date information as possible. So there needs to be a mechanism for fire prevention inspectors to communicate changes they've seen to those who would be responding to incidents at the buildings they've inspected. The total credit for fire prevention programs is simply the sum of all the credits for the individual programs. Finally, the credit for fire prevention code and enforcement is the sum of the individual areas divided by 40, with the resulting value then multiplied by 2.2. This concludes my presentation related to credits for fire prevention code adoption and enforcement. As always, we at the Property Insurance Association hope this information has been useful to you. If you should have any questions about this presentation or any other rating-related matter, please do not hesitate to call. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have a wonderful day.